So this is going to be the first episode in my garden series. And in it, I'm just going to be talking about the different plants that I'm growing or what the plans are for the garden. I started getting into gardening about 3 years ago. When I started, I just got on Amazon, I bought a planter box, I bought a bunch of seeds, and it turned out pretty well. I had tomatoes, peppers, I had beans, I had all kinds of things growing in it. And then the next year I started growing things from seed, which was really satisfying. I grew sunflowers. Well, now what I want to do is I wanted to learn how to propagate. And if you don't know what propagating is, it's where you take a clipping from a plant and you grow a whole new plant from it. So the reason why I wanted to learn how to propagate was because 2 years ago, I bought these blackberry bushes that were one of those bare roots, so itty bitty guys, and they grew really well. And I got a good blackberry harvest from it. The bushes are thornless and sweet, which I thought I would like to grow more of, or maybe give some as gifts. But then when I looked them up from growing from seed, it was like years to get a bush. But if you propagate, you get one a whole lot sooner. Then I watched a guy on YouTube show how he propagated blackberry bushes, and I'm going to link him right here so that y'all can see what he said. His video is also very short, sweet, to the point, like 5 minutes. And what he said was to take what's known as a hardwood cutting, which is from an older part of the bush, not the younger part, take off the leaves, stick the bottom end in root grow, and then stick that in a bucket of dirt, and it'll grow. Great, simple enough, right? Also, he recommended like a pine straw mix with fertilizer, which I did. And this is my little guy I'll be talking about in a second. But I kind of thought it was weird because I was thinking, oh, I should get like a fresh cutting, like the newer cuttings. And so I got a variety of them. And here's my little video right now I took of the ones that I grew. I decided to try to grow 6, thinking that maybe 1 or 2 wouldn't make it. But the thinner cuttings, the younger ones, didn't turn out as well as the hardwood cuttings. You know, I should have listened to him. Didn't turn out as well as the hardwood cuttings. I think why is because you're supposed to propagate blackberry bushes in the fall. I think what happens is by getting that hardwood cutting and taking off the leaves and sticking it in dirt, that it's going to make the plant focus on growing a root system instead of leaves, which will give you a better plant. And the one that's doing the best is the one that's most like a hardwood cutting, one that was the thicker one. I have him right here. I don't have a name for him or anything. I sometimes name my plants if they reach a certain stage, but yeah, he started growing, so he's gonna be a great bush. One of the reasons why I propagate multiple plants is because I have a lot of other friends that love plants. And these bushes, if you go to a nursery, are something like $30 to $65 a piece. But if I just take a clipping and I put in some time now, in a couple of years, then I can give one as a gift. And that's like a $30, $60 gift to give somebody when it only costs me just a little bit of time and effort. Blackberry bushes are very close to briars in that they're not so sensitive. Blackberry bushes are pretty low maintenance, especially where I live. I live a little bit closer into the city, so I don't have any deer to contend with. I probably would not grow these at my folks' place. They're a bit more rural, and so they have a lot of deer, a lot of rabbits. It seems like my mom can plant like a piece of wood into the ground and the deer will just eat it because they think because she planted it that it's got to be something good to eat. Another plant that I'm growing right now, but I didn't propagate, is some blueberry bushes, and they're called tophat blueberries. The reason why I picked the tophat blueberry is because it's not supposed to grow very large. It's supposed to be something like 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet. So a lot of people will put them into like big pots for their patio and grow them that way. I like them because they weren't supposed to grow very large. My parents' blueberry bushes are something like 10, 15 feet tall. They're, way above my height and they're huge. And for me, my property isn't as big as theirs. It's not gonna make a whole lot of sense for me to have that kind of bush. It'll just sort of take over. So I wanted something small and manageable that I could use actually to replace the holly bush. I don't know why anyone would plant a holly bush. I know that they're evergreens and all that, but those thorny leaves, especially when they fall and they dry, it's just pain. It's just horrible pain. I really dislike my holly bush, and so I want to take up the holly bush and I want to plant all 3 right there in the front. But if you've ever had to get rid of a holly bush, they're very stubborn. They're very stout, which is probably why people use them for ornamentation, because they're not easy to kill and they are green all year round. But I hate those pointy leaves so much. They're right up there with the sugar gum trees that drop those little balls that are so obnoxious. Other stuff that I propagated are the aloe vera plants, and if you can see, I've got a whole bunch of them right here in my little video, including this little guy all the way in the back. And these guys I'm hoping to make Christmas presents out of. I started them in September and they've grown, and what I want to do is I want to paint the pot. If you go to Home Depot to buy one of these aloe veras, they'd be somewhere around 20 bucks. Me just propagating them, it only cost me about $1 for the terracotta pot and then maybe another $1 for the soil. And so for $2, I can give somebody a plant that's worth 20, and that makes it nice. You know, it's just the time and effort to do it. Another gardening goal that I have is I want to fix the planter that's at my house. The one that I had was on one side of the house and I wanted to move it to the other, but I didn't move it last year, and when I took it apart, the boards swelled and now they don't fit in like they used to. So I'm gonna need to rebuild it, which is fine because I've got some basic woodworking skills. I just need to work on shoveling the ground and actually measuring and cutting the wood and figuring out exactly what I want. If you're a gardener, I'd love to hear from you. The stuff that I'm thinking of planting right now is gonna be peppers, cucumbers, zucchini maybe. I liked planting the pumpkins because it was kind of cool to like grow my own pumpkin for Halloween. I would also like to maybe plant some radishes, some beets. I didn't eat the peas I planted, but I really enjoyed harvesting them. So I don't know if I'm gonna do peas again this year or not. I'm still on the fence about that. But that's all I've got right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you leave a comment down below.